Hi, it's Cheryl with Caribou Country Lifestyle. So today, June 30th, and it is going to be another hot day. We're supposed to be 41 today, so that's 4 days in a row that it has been around 40 degrees Celsius. I live in the Caribou region. It is the central interior of British Columbia, and we are in a zone 3. And it's 20 after 7 in the morning. I've been up since just before 6, and I'm just getting things ready for the contractors to come back. And what I mean by getting things ready is I'm setting up fans for them because we don't have any of our windows open. We don't have air conditioning in our house. So I set up a fan that we have set up in our TV room that we use in the evening. And I also am setting up a fan that we have in our bedroom, and it's just right over our bed. It is just so hot, uncomfortably hot at night, that I just want to make sure that they are comfortable as well during this heat wave, having to work in here with all the windows closed and no air conditioning. So I feel kind of bad for them. So I have this fan oscillating. They have done all the drywall on the ceiling. So the whole ceiling has been drywalled. And then they drywalled that wall there. And that's in the kitchen. We no longer have the wall that separates the kitchen from the living room. And they're just doing the mudding. I'm not sure how many applications they have to do with the mud before they start sanding. Doesn't this look like the shortest wall ever? So anyways, we definitely have to duck when we go out onto the deck. Today I'm starting with watering this morning before I even go outside. I'm going to water my plants out on the deck. I want to do that before the contractors come so I'm not in their way. I just finished watering on my deck, and I just want to show you. These are both the Viva Italia tomato. So I don't know how it is that the one on the left looks good and the one on the right, like, I watered both of them. So the one on the right is struggling more, maybe because it's in a clay pot, maybe it dried out quicker than the other one. I don't know. I have others in clay pots. So my chocolate sprinkles, that's in a clay pot and it's fine. Same with that chocolate sprinkles, in a clay pot and it is fine. I mean, this flower here, my Calibrachoa, in this one pot is struggling, and this one, it looks good, and even in this one looks really good, but this one not so much. So hot. Tomorrow it's only supposed to be 30 degrees Celsius, not 40, so 10 degrees cooler. I'm looking forward to that. I have taken the cozy coats off of the peppers, and then I threw some straw around them. So these peppers are my Satsuma hybrid peppers. And then here is the California Wonder on the left, and is the Carnival Blend on the right. And these ones, and I've pinched the tops off of them to get them to be a little bit more bushier. These two are the Sweet Sunset. And these two are the Sweet Sunset as well. And then I've mulched with the straw. So I've pulled out my Chinese Toi Choy, and we have been eating that because it was ready and it has been absolutely delicious. So I replanted some more because it didn't take long for it to mature and be ready to pick. I also kept saying how I was going to have to reseed my romaine lettuce. So I finally did that. We also picked some of the lettuce from my muslin mix, and I put that into a salad with my spinach from the garden, my kale from the garden, and the cucumbers and green onions and cherry tomatoes that I added to my salad did not come from my garden. So I've just put those seeds right on top of the wet soil, and then tomorrow morning when I water, I'll just water over the seeds. I'm not going to cover the seeds because they will sprout sooner if they aren't really have a big layer of soil on them. So I'm just not going to cover them, and I'm going to water them. I was telling you about this cobaya, and that's these little plants that I've planted on each side of the support so that they could climb up. And I just want to show you what it looks like. So this is the rosy purple cobaya, and doesn't that look stunning? So I'm really hoping that this grows and we get to enjoy those beautiful flowers on that cobaya. Another thing was I pulled out some radishes. I wasn't very happy with them. It seemed like there was a lot of worms and bugs in that have tunneled into the radish, and so it wasn't even worth eating. And I didn't have a problem with that with most of my other radishes. It only seemed to be the sparkler white tip radish. So instead of replanting that, I ended up planting, which one did I do? The early scarlet. And I already have the early scarlet, and that's these ones here, and they are doing a lot better. I don't seem to have a bug situation or worms getting into and boring into the center of the radish. So I planted the seeds in this row here, and I'm just going to cover it lightly with the soil. And then like the ground is wet right now because I just finished watering, and then when I water tomorrow morning it will get another drink of water. So wasn't a fan of the sparkler white tip radish. I also put some mulch in between my beets, just a layer of straw in between my beets. Also, my poor planter that I just planted yesterday, I forgot to water it after I had just planted it, and then last night I came out here and I was just, oh my gosh, I forgot to water that planter yesterday morning. So I ran with the water and gave it a quick drink, and I've already watered it this morning. Yesterday we got our baby chicks. These are our meat birds, and we ordered 25. They send us one extra of each breed, so we got 10 of the broiler chicks, and they are the pale yellow ones, and then the ones that have the brown tinge to them, those are the Western rustics. And the Western rustic will be a smaller meat bird, usually about 4 or 5 pounds of chicken in the Western Rustic chicks, and then the Cornish Cross, which are the broilers. Those ones last year, they were up to 7-8 pounds. We're not going to let them go quite as long as we did last year. We're going to probably process them at about 8 or 9 weeks. Last year we went to 11 weeks, and they grow so fast. But they were pretty, when I picked them up, it was 4 o'clock in the afternoon. They were under a lot of stress because of how hot it was. And these chicks, like, we live in BC, and these chicks are coming from Rochester Hatchery, which is in Westlock, Alberta. So I'm not exactly sure how far that they had to travel, but they were under a lot of stress from the heat. We had to take them out individually and make sure they were getting lots of water, because it just seemed like they were struggling with the heat and the travel. So there they are. They seem to be doing quite well now, so I'm happy about that. They've been eating. We got them a new feeder, and they seem to be doing quite well. So that's good. Okay, so another job done in the heat was I wanted to plant more of my flowers. I got this other planter ready, filled it up with dirt, and in this planter this is my geraniums. I started those by seed in February, and that's a red zonal geranium. And this in the back, that is a snapdragon, a rocket snapdragon, that I purchased that. This is another snapdragon here. It had flowers on it, but they were not looking very good, so I just pinched the flowers off, and they'll bush out and do a lot better, and they'll produce more flowers. Here I have, it's a purple double petunia, and that I started from seed, so it's quite puny. So I have a few there, and then I also have one that's called a Bonanza double petunia, and I think it's a burgundy one. This is some alyssum that I had bought, lobelia that I had bought, and these are my marigolds that I started. This is just an orange marigold, and in the back there, that's my crackerjack marigold. So it's going to get quite tall. It gets about 3 feet high, so I put it in the back so it wouldn't take away from my little plants that I have in the front of them. So I gave it a nice drink of water, and I'll probably have to water it again a little bit later this afternoon, early evening. I'll give it some more water to make sure that it isn't all stressed out. So, like I say, this is the last hot day in the 40s. And tomorrow it's supposed to be 30, and then the next day it's 30 again, 29. It's not supposed to get up into the 40s after today, so that will be nice. My poor chickens, they're like panting like crazy with this heat. We ended up putting a fan in the one chicken coop with the little chicks, just because we were really worried about them when we took them out of their little box and put them in. I basically babysat them and made sure that they kept getting a drink of water. We gave them the water with a bit of apple cider vinegar, antiviral, antifungal, good for especially to get some of their immunities into them. They definitely need to be drinking. They're eating. So we'll see how the next couple of days go with them. and hopefully we don't have any casualties. I think that's all I have for today. Our drywaller is back this morning, and it's like 9:30 in the morning, and I'm already to call it quits as far as being outside. We'll talk again soon. Thanks for joining me.